Hi, welcome back to Razan's Corner. My previous video was about inner child work. In this video, I'm going to cover the rest of the slide that I had shared on my actual Instagram page by a therapist that I follow on Facebook. Her name is Sarah Kubrick, and she actually has a lot of memes as well as slideshows and pictures about mental health. I love some of her work, and I am sharing it on my website. I'm also sharing it on my Razan's Corner, which is on my Instagram page. Today, I would like to cover in this video the rest of that slide. So what we're talking about is inner child work. How does inner child experiences, how do they affect your adult life? And this is Freudian work. Psychodynamic theory taught us about childhood experiences, traumas, setbacks, good moments, bad moments, things that were said to us, things that we witnessed, learned behaviors, and how they play out in our adult world as adults. Now, many people don't realize that there's a huge correlation between what you experienced as a child and how you deal with your situations in life as an adult. How do you problem solve has a lot to do with your childhood. How do you interpret information that is towards you has a lot to do with your childhood. How you feel about yourself and your accomplishments and the level of confidence that you have in yourself has a lot to do with your childhood. Now, does that mean you're wired this way and it cannot change? Absolutely not. But for those of us that struggle with a lot of mental health issues, it's important to dissect what that looks like, because then knowledge is power. And if you know where the behaviors are coming from, then maybe you have more control in changing them. And I'll talk about that in a minute, about generational curses and the choices you have. I will be looking at my tablet because I did take some notes. My fourth point, I covered 3 in my other video. This is a video that's going to cover the rest of the points. My fourth point is I need them to love me in order to love myself. I need them to love me in order to love myself. Some of us walk around this planet thinking this subconsciously and not even realizing it. So, what does this look like when we go out of our way for other people because we want to feel accepted and not rejected? When we put our emotions aside, our needs aside, our wants aside, and validate and do for others, whether we like it or not, because I want them to love me. If I feel that, then I feel relevant. If I feel the acceptance, then I feel important. And if I feel important, then I can care about myself a little bit more. I can't feel good about myself if I'm being rejected. I can't feel good about myself if I don't have so many friends and so many followers and so many likes. Does this sound familiar? Maybe not you, but somebody you may know is like that. Maybe some of your teenage children are like that. Let's take this further. Where did this come from? Okay, how did that play out in childhood? So I cannot love myself unless they love me. Well, how many times did you feel that there was a lot of disappointment in you? And because you did this, now this is going to happen. Well, I'm upset because you're like this, and I'm upset with you, and I don't want to do something with you, and I don't want to take you out, and no, I don't want to hang out with you. This is a parent telling a child, because you made this mistake and you made that mistake, and this is the way you think and this is the way you feel. And okay, so now I can't be me unless they approve of who I am and how I am. So now I'm going to conform to whatever that adult figure wants. And once that feels acceptable and I'm actually valid, then I can feel good about myself. You see how dysfunctional that is? What does that look like in adulthood? Well, if I do the song and dance and I have the approval of people, then I feel good about myself. If I'm being rejected, then there must be something wrong with me, and I have to change me so I could be accepted. This is the dysfunctional pattern of the weight being put on other people to feel like we deserve love. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. It doesn't matter what people's opinions are. If you feel content within yourself and you know you're not doing dirt, and you're a great person, you have a great heart, you have great intentions, great motivation, you're a kind soul, then that's enough. You don't need to do more. as long as you know you're doing your best according to you, not according to what standards were put in front of you as a child. There's a huge difference. So how do we make sure we don't repeat the pattern of our family is when we have children, and for those of you that do have children, make sure you always have them feel loved no matter what. No matter what. No matter what the disappointment may be. It's not a conditional reason to love your child or make them feel that. You may not actually be a conditional parent, but that's how it comes across when there's always a yeah, but when your child is listening to you. We can go into more detail about this, but I don't want the video to be 25 minutes long because there's so much that we can unpack with that. Just remember that if you feel that you need to be accepted by other people just so you could feel good about yourself, social media is number one way we're seeing this. When you have 700 followers or 3,000 followers, there's something to be said about how much validation you need and why. So pay attention to that. Another point I want to make. I'm not deserving of good things. Where did that come from? I'm not deserving of good things. Okay, how does that play out in adulthood? When I apply for a job and then I hesitate and wonder, well, maybe I shouldn't get it. Maybe that person should get it because they're more, skilled than I am, or whatever story I'm telling myself. Or you could be a high schooler, you could be a college student, and I actually have worked with a college student that doesn't feel deserving of getting into a program, deserving of actually being accepted into a certain school, even though they're great. Obviously, they did the work to be accepted. But what's been programmed in childhood is you're not deserving of great things. Well, because you did X, Y, and Z, you don't get X, Y, and Z. Does that make sense? Does that sound familiar? Oh, okay. Well, because you don't have these grades, then tell me why I should buy you blah. Tell me why I should take you to blah. Tell me why we should do this as a family because you're doing blah. So it's always conditional that your behavior as a child determined what you deserved. Now, don't get me wrong. There is such a thing as negative reinforcement. There is such a thing as discipline. Yes, if you misbehave, then yes, it's understandable that there are consequences. But to say these words to your child and to hear them as a child, that I guess I just don't deserve certain things, even if maybe I tried. And let's say you as a kid you did try, and it still wasn't good enough. That goes back to my very first point. No matter what I do, I'm not good enough. On my other video. Okay, well now I'm being told that I don't deserve certain things because of the way I'm doing me. So how does that look as an adult? You second guess everything. You look at your self-worth as less than. You always compare yourself to other people and wonder, how you can be better. And again, the comparanoia that we talked about in the last video. So remind yourself that you deserve good things no matter what. That is not conditional. You deserve good things if you're trying. You deserve good things if you're doing your best. You deserve good things just because you're a human being that has rights. So just because as a child you felt like that was conditional doesn't mean you have to live under that as an adult. Meaning walk into situations with confidence, telling yourself that no matter what you were told as a child, that's not your truth today. Today, you get to dictate what you're worth and what you deserve. So that's where we separate the adult from the child. Another point I want to make is their success threatens me. This is a big one, especially when it comes to certain cultures. I come from a certain culture that does put that emphasis on success, who's got what, who's driving what, who lives in what, who has what degree. And that's all you hear from a very early age. Very early age. Look at so-and-so's child. Look at so-and-so's son. Look at so-and-so's daughter. Look at so-and-so. They got into this school. And there's always a comparison to other people's success. There's always a comparison to how we could be better and how we're not better. So then, when we look at people that are successful, it feels threatening. It feels intimidating because when we were very young, that was put in front of us as a form of making us feel like we don't measure up. So now as an adult, you may avoid certain people because you don't know how to feel comfortable around successful people. You feel intimidated. You feel less than, less accomplished, and I want you to understand that you bring you to the table. And it's not about what letters you have after your name. It's not about what accomplishments, businesses, degrees. It doesn't matter. What does your soul look like? Because that's what people are getting to know. That's what's important. So surround yourself by people who celebrate who you are, not what you have, right? So that's a huge difference. And so don't be intimidated by people's success. We are all, I tell people, we're all one paycheck away from homelessness. There's nothing guaranteed in life. And so that's just materialistic. Who's the person? What does your soul look like? That's what I want you to celebrate. That's where the adult comes in and believes that about themselves. The confidence that when I walk into a situation, I bring me, and that's enough. That's enough. It doesn't matter if I have less degrees or less businesses or I rent versus own. It really doesn't matter. Those are all standards that were put on us when we were very young, and they're irrelevant. They really are. Another point I want to make, it's dangerous for me to be authentic and be myself. This is another big one. I see this a lot in adults in relationships where they don't share their true self. It's almost like they're living a completely fabricated life and image, because if they really put who they are on the table, they don't feel emotionally safe that will be accepted unconditionally. Where does that come from? Childhood. So we've been told in different ways that whatever I am needs to be improved. So can I just be myself and feel like that's enough? Maybe not as a kid. No, because you hear how maybe you could have done this better, and maybe you could have tried harder, and maybe next time you can get all A's, and maybe next time you could be a starter on the team. And there's like, okay, well, what if I don't want that? What if I'm content where I'm at? What if I don't want to be on the team? What if I don't want to cheer? And I have a lot of boys that are football players, and it's like, well, what if you don't want to play ball? Can you be yourself, or are you expected to fit in this box as a child? And if you don't, there's disappointment. So now you have to conform, codependency. You have to change who you are, codependency. You have to fit in to make sure that we don't rock the boat, codependency, learned very early. So as you become an adult, that carries out in all your relationships. You put up and shut up. You hide your true feelings and your thoughts sometimes. You conform. You tolerate things you otherwise wouldn't. You go with the flow even though you may not agree with it, because if you are yourself, you may be rejected. And you're afraid of that because you felt that as a child. So this is how it plays out in your adulthood. So the very last one is, it's okay to sacrifice myself for the sake of my relationship. Number one codependency mistake ever. And this really puts it all in a nutshell. We are now going to sacrifice who we are, what we think, what we feel, what we need, what we want, just so we don't lose a relationship or feel alone. This is very dangerous. I see this a lot. I see it in teenagers. I see it in young adults. I see it in couples. I even see it in people later in life that are actually in retirement age. So you're sacrificing all of who you are. What does that leave you in? Empty. You're hollow. You don't have a sense of self, a sense of identity, a sense of voice, belonging, relevance, because you've had to conform and be someone else for so long to make somebody else happy. Whether it's your parents, whether it's your siblings, whether it's your spouse, your mate, your boss, whatever it is. You've told yourself that that's okay. You've convinced yourself, because it's become your pattern for so many years, that that's just normal. Well, it's not. It's not normal to sacrifice yourself so somebody else is happy. Who's sacrificing themselves for you? Who's sacrificing all of themselves to make sure you're happy? Think about that. And is that something you would want someone to do? That seems very selfish. So then we need to not allow that to be done to us. And how do you separate that from your adult life? Is be confident in who you are. And if anyone is going to be in a relationship with you, it's because of who you are, not because of who you can become for them. Okay, this was heavy. I hope it helped. If you need further information, please text me, email me, send me a message. Let me know if you need just further clarification on any of this, or if you're struggling with parts of this. Again, we can do 10 videos on inner child work. It's deep work, it's intense work, and most people are not emotionally ready for it until they've been in therapy for a while. I just wanted to put this out there because I did have a lot of comments about that slide that I actually put up about the inner child, the wounded inner child. So thank you for watching my video. Please share it, like it, subscribe to my page, share it with your friends, your family, post it on all your platforms. Check out my website, resonancetherapeuticservices.com. A lot of great information there for you to look at, whether it's you're in a relationship or whether you're a parent or whether you're single. There's a lot of stuff there. Again, thank you for your support. Check out my Instagram page, Resonance Corner. The slide is on there. And if you need any further assistance, I'm here to help. Take care, be safe, God bless.